Hey guys, what's up? How's it going? It's Theo talking here, coming at you live from his room, having a good old time, playing some video games, everything like that. And I'm here with another gaming video to bring to you. And I think today we're going to actually step on some toes, which is going to be fun. We're going to talk about one of the greatest topics I think every gamer has had a discussion about at some point in their lives or another, and that's the ever so highly, heavily debated, PC versus console, which you like better, which thing is better. Now, personally, I think that, all gaming platforms are great. I mean, I have a gaming PC. I have, a PlayStation 4. I built several gaming PCs and I've upgraded my PC several times. And of course, as everybody knows, my all-time favorite, the magical number 3 is Nintendo Switch. And I love Nintendo first-party games. I love Nintendo consoles. I always have, and I'm pretty sure I'll always will be. But I wanted to see what all the hype was about in terms of the PC stuff. So within the last few years, I got very deep and in-depth with PC building, PC gaming, all that good stuff, just to see kind of like what it offered. If there's such a huge, heavy cult following behind it, usually I get curious and want to see what the big deal is. So I've done it for several years now. Pretty happy with it. I enjoy it. But of course, in terms of the personal experience, obviously, what's better, PC or console? Personally, I'm still team console. At the end of the day, I still think console's better than PC. I still think it's, a lot better gaming experience than PC. And I'm going to step on some toes as to why, but we'll go ahead and get into the reasons. Obviously, I'm not just going to sit here and leave you hanging and not tell you why I feel this way. I definitely have done it's literally years of just in-depth in both, and kind of finally decided, you know what, at the end of the day, I still feel like I'm going to stream more console games. I still feel like I'm going to be more in tune with the console community, but of course, we'll get into the reasons. Like I told you, reason number 1 is because, 1, gaming PC is really ridiculously expensive. Any BS that any PC gamer tells you about PC gaming is cheaper than console and give you a better experience than console for a less price is lying to you 100%. They're not ready to talk about it, but dude, I'm telling you straight up, it's a lie. It's not true. And anything you can build that's less than a console, whether it's secondhand or not, will usually not last 2 years. You'll have to upgrade something. You'll have to rebuild your PC. You're going to have to do something. So don't believe for a freaking second that is the biggest lie I think the PC community tells gamers, is that PC gaming is cheaper. It is not. We'll go ahead and take a look at some of the stuff I have, and I don't have the top of the line things. There's maybe my graphics card, but that's it. But let's go ahead and take a look at the stuff that I have, and then I'll show you the prices of what I have and how much they are today, and what can you expect from something that's a monitor that's just the basic 1080, 60 to 75 frames per second, that it only goes up to that, my less expensive graphics cards and everything like that. But yeah, anyway, I'll show you what I have, and I'll show you how much those are right now. Alright, let's take a look under the hood of my awesome gaming PC. So I'm rocking the RTX 2080 Super. I do have the Ryzen 7 2700 in terms of CPU. I have 32 gigs of RAM. Of course, it's all RGB in terms of the fans, the RAM, and of course the CPU fan. Again, gotta prove with the RTX logo. But let's go ahead and go over to Newegg and check the prices on stuff that I have now, and of course stuff that I've used previously. We'll start with the graphics card first. Previously, before this, and I still have it, I had the GTX 1660 OC edition. Just looking at the normal current models, we're looking at $339, $249, so almost $300 for some of this model. So that's about over half the price of a PlayStation 4 Pro. And that's the Pro. That's not even the normal PlayStation 4. That's almost the full price of an actual normal PlayStation 4. And of course, you go secondhand on either the card or the console, you're still going to pay about relatively the same in terms of differences. But let's go ahead and take a look at the graphics card versions I have currently, the 2080 Super, and yeah, we're looking at the $700, $800, dollar range, and of course some of them going up to $1,000 depending on the brand, the model. And of course those are almost 2 PS4 Pros or 2 Xbox One X Series Pros, whatever the heck the Xbox calls them. I don't know, I've never really been an Xbox fan all that much. But yeah, I mean, graphics cards alone, you're looking at dropping a pretty penny. And then these are just like the 1660 is considered one of the lower tier graphics cards. The only graphics cards underneath that is the 1650. So I mean, it's expensive, like I mentioned. And we'll go into the CPUs. Let's go ahead. This is the current Ryzen 7s. They're the 3000 series. They're looking at $300 by themselves. Of course, here's the Ryzen, 3000 Series X, again, $35 more. And of course, we have the Ryzen 9s. These are like Ryzen 7, Ryzen 9 prices. These are getting into like the current generation that I have. We're still looking at $300 still. $300 for mine. And of course, just wow, like, come on guys, look at the prices. I mean, of course, if you decide to go Ryzen 5, those are a whole totally different animal. I mean, but I recommend if you want to do any kind of streaming, you get the Ryzen 7 at least. And of course, just avoid the Ryzen 3. But yeah, man, I mean, come on, like, dude, look at this. Look at this. $500 for the Ryzen 7. It's insane. And mind you, this is the current CPU I have in my system, the Ryzen 2700, the Ryzen 7 2700. But yes, let's go ahead and take a look at the monitors, because like right there between your CPU costing $300 and your graphics card $200 on the low end, that's $500. That's already more than a console. But let's go ahead and check my monitor. We're looking at the 27-inch LG gaming monitor. Of course, the model number's right there. Doesn't have a name, just a model number, so I don't feel like saying it. $216. And this is just a 1080, nothing higher than that, 1080p. And of course, the max frame rates you can get is 75 frames per second, which looks really good, honestly. It definitely looks a lot better than 60 frames per second. I feel like you can tell the difference. But let's go ahead and just take a look at the case. My case is so old, Newegg doesn't even sell it anymore. And when I went and clicked on it, of course, it gives me the out of stock. And like, they don't even make this case anymore. That's how old it is. But I was able to find it on Amazon. So I mean, let's go ahead and take a look-see over there. So once I'm going through the Rain Max cases, there's the white version, but of course I got the black version. So for a comparison, I decided to get that. So found it after, it looks like I scroll past it. Oh, there we go. So we're looking at $67.99. So let's just say $70, because after taxes and shipping, you're looking at $70 for the case, $200, and that's being generous, that's being nice. $200 for the monitor, $300 for the CPU, and $200 for the graphics card. Honestly, you can buy the most current gen console with games and probably a nice TV for that much. Alright, so now that we got into that and the pricing, and I proved to you that even just 3 things alone combined will cost you more than a console, it's just insane. Like, it's like, and like I said, my case is out of date. My freaking, I showed you my older graphics card, my newer graphics card, and of course this is not considering the power supply, the motherboard, the RAM, the monitor, the mouse, the keyboard, the mouse pad, the webcam, the microphone if you're gonna actually stream, the games, and dude, it's expensive. So again, it is a lie. They will tell you it's not. It is. I don't care what they say about the secondhand market. You can do the same thing with console and it'll still be cheaper. It is a lie, and I will freaking preach this to the day I die, because that is my biggest pet peeve about the PC community. They say that with such conviction, and it's so bullshit. And that's why I'm here telling you today, don't believe it for a second. So if you want a good gaming experience with PC, you're going to have to pay for it. That's fine. I mean, I didn't mind paying for it. I'm very happy with what I've paid for, and I'm looking to upgrade some stuff in the future. But it's not cheap. Don't believe it is. Don't listen to them. It is expensive. All right, so let's go ahead and go into reason number 2. really hard to find. I mean, while I was searching, you know, for those component lists and everything like that, searching with those, I noticed a lot of things were out of stock. Like the reason why the Ryzen 7 that I had was, you know, $500 was because it was sold out by all like the actual official retailers and sellers. And Newegg hardly had anything on sale. It was usually all through secondhand marketers. Same thing with Amazon. Best Buy's usually always sold out. Components, especially now, are really hard to find and usually overpriced. But you know, everybody's like, oh, you know, the COVID thing, blah blah blah. But it was even when I was upgrading, it was always a slow upgrade process because it was always hard to find PC components. I couldn't find a power supply for a long time, and the graphics card that I have requires a 750 watt power supply. I had to go to like a used PC repair store to find one, and I found a $750 Corsair modular power supply for like $50. The guy was nice. He knows I go in there a lot, so he was just like, oh hey, yeah, sure dude, you're always coming in here, I'll sell you this for $50. Like, thanks. So I was lucky there. But like, it's just it's really hard to find those pieces. It's really hard to like actually build a PC, especially now, but even in the past it was so hard to do. Let's see, but I'll go ahead and get off that high horse. Next thing I want to talk about is it's machine focused. Like, you know, the RGB, the LEDs, like how cool your machine looks, how clean it is. There's whole YouTube videos on like, you know, that people have just roasting PC builds, and it's just like the wires are not exactly pretty and pristine and clean and 100%. Like, it's all about the machine. Like, it's the love for the machine. Games, they use games as benchmarks. Like, so they'll use The Witcher 3, Shadows of the Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider. I forgot what the newest one is. The newest Tomb Raider game's apparently a benchmark game. Far Cry 5 is a benchmark game. Battlefield 5 is a benchmark game. So these games are used as benchmarks, but I hardly ever hear the PC community talk about games, talk about getting excited for this, getting excited for that, like, oh, I can't wait for this game, or stuff like that. It's usually always about the machine. Like, I heard more hype about the new i7 10th generation or 10th generation CPUs than I do about any games coming soon. That's just like, it's the love's about the machine. I mean, which is fine. I guess if you're investing that much money in it, obviously you want your machine to be, you know, freaking awesome, but that's just not what I'm into. Yeah, sure, I mean, I want a good PC and I want it to run games, but I also want it to stream well, like, which is why I need it. I think even with a 2080 Super now, when I look at Task Manager, my GPU is still being used at like max 25%. It's usually like 20 to 25%. So that's why I kind of wanted that strong graphics card to begin with, because Streamlabs uses that as a streaming encoder, so to say. So kind of glad I got that. But yeah, I mean, it's just, and versus Nintendo stuff, for example, like when they talked about the new developers coming in from, like, you know, Battlefield 5 developers, stuff like that. I mean, I can't remember exactly who all it was, but they were talking about the game. You know, they're excited about the game. They're excited that, you know, the Metroid Prime trilogy might get released in June thanks to this, you know, Swedish like website or whatever, like said that it was June 19th was the release date. I feel like console communities are excited about the games, the product. We all have, like, consoles, we all have the same machine. We're not, you know, comparing our wiener sizes basically by our builds. We all have the same machine, so that just leaves room for only one thing to appreciate, and that's the content on those systems. And then that brings me to my next point in terms of like comparing wiener sizes by your build. The PC community sucks. Like, it's bad. Like, it's toxic. And the toxicity is rampant. Like, when you're a new PC gamer and you come to the community for help, you'll get roasted for literally just existing. Like, oh, how do you not know this? How do blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, dude, chill. Like, that's why I'm here. I'm asking for help. I need assistance. Like, I want to know things. And they're just be like, oh, well, that's like basic knowledge. And just like, they're just so smug about it for no reason. And I just never understood it personally. And like, even, oh god, my favorite, like, the toxicity in the PC community is so great that they freaking rip on the console wars, right? They have component wars. Like, if you, for example, CPU, there's Intel, which is like the i7, i9, you know, and then there's AMD, which is the Ryzen's, like Ryzen 7, Ryzen 9, Ryzen 5. there's like such a big like picky like back and forth between those two. Like, oh wait, like I remember I was asking about builds, and then I was like, well, I got a Ryzen because, you know, it's cheaper. They're cheaper than Intel processors. Like, oh, you got a Ryzen? Oh, sorry, I can't talk to you. You went AMD now, and like I can't talk to you anymore. Like, what? Like, we can't. Like, they're just not happy for people who are transitioning the console into PC. Like, they're not happy at all. My first graphics card was an AMD. And they're like, oh wait, it's not NVIDIA, it's not a GTX? Wow, what a screw. I was like, but you know, AMD graphics cards are a lot more like affordable than, you know, the GTX or the RTX, and they're usually more readily available. So I mean, I started off with an RX, I think it was, yeah, an RX 560, and you know, it just, I got so much shit for that. Like, what? Like, will help me? I'm asking questions and stuff like that. It never was enough. They're not happy with anything you do. You can have a top of the line PC. Like, I remember when somebody asked me about it, I showed them my specs and they're like, oh wow, they're like, your CPU is totally bottlenecking that GPU, that monster GPU of yours. You should fix that. And I was like, dude, like, my refresh rate is only 75 frames per second. My CPU for that is fine. Like, they're never happy no matter what you do. So, I don't know. Toxic PC community. It's the most toxic community I've ever been in. I'm in the Smash Bros. Community, and that toxicity is pretty bad. But, dude, there's so much elitism in the PC community, even amongst themselves, even amongst, like, their freaking component wars. Ryzen versus AMD, like, versus Intel versus GTX, like, it's crazy. I don't understand it. Like, there's just so much entitlement in that. But anyway, let's go ahead and go on to our next point. So I've already talked about toxic gaming community. I've already talked about, you know, or yeah, toxic community. Nobody's happy for you. I've already talked about pricing. I've already talked about components being hard to find. You know, I've already kind of like talked a little bit about, you know, the game being the benchmark, but I mean, I think that, you know, again, going back to no console wars, and they like to make fun of that Epic Steam store, that fight, Epic Steam, freaking, oh god, the Epic store versus the Steam store, like, they freaking clash, and then there's just like, you know, so much going on with that. I mean, it's just, it's insane. I mean, that's like my final complaint, is that you have to have different accounts. Like, I need a Microsoft account to play, you know, Halo. That's one of the complaints I have. You need a Microsoft account to play Microsoft games. You need a Steam account to play Steam games. You need, you know, Epic Games account because they only have, you know, a few exclusives. You need an account for almost every developer to be able to play their games, and it sucks and it's stupid. I can get a PlayStation 4, play all those games on that platform, and all I have is a PSN account. I will freaking pay PlayStation Plus over having PC's free online service any day, because I have to make 1 million accounts to play just a handful of games. And it's just, you know, of course, remembering the password for all those games, writing it down. Some need explanation points or special characters, some don't. It's just all annoying. It's all a pain just to be able to play some games. It's just like, dude, I don't have to do this on Nintendo or PlayStation. I just make one account. Well, for those two, just 2 accounts, I guess. PlayStation account, Nintendo account, and bam, access to any game, whatever it is. I'll pay the $20 a year or the $60 a year. It does not matter. Video game sales on Steam are good, true, but it's just having, I don't know, it's just, you have to go to too many different places to get your games, and it's annoying. It really is. It kind of like makes it a drag, honestly. Like, I haven't even picked up Minecraft yet because I need like a Minecraft account, and I'm just like, I don't even, like, no Overwatch, no nothing. I just Steam, Epic Store, and I have my Microsoft account I luckily made when I had an Xbox 360, and that one still works. I still remember that password, and you know, I was scared. It took me like 10 times, but I got it. And yeah, I mean, that's just the way that works. But anyway, guys, those are my reasons that I like, you know, console gaming over PC. Again, they're not like huge heavy hitting complaints. I mean, they're not like, all right, you should stay away from PC for the rest of your life just because of these problems. They're just problems that you need to be aware of if you're getting into PC gaming. Like, expect them. They're going to be there, and you know, they might not bother you. They might not bother you as much as they bother me. I mean, And like I said, I feel like there's not like a community around the games itself. I mean, sure, like stuff like Undertale or Minecraft are like the few rare exceptions, but you can get those games on any platform now. I feel there's not as much as a community, and if then the one that does exist is all about judgmental. Like they're there to attack you first before they'll help you. Of course, there's people there that will help you, don't get me wrong, there is, but there's more people that just would rather scoff at you and then they'll help you before they actually just straight up, oh hey, you're new to PC gaming, we feel like PC is the great platform, so here you go. I mean, no amount of mods make PC gaming less toxic. Don't care. Like, it's just no amount of mods I feel like can make up for it. I mean, it's whatever. Mods aren't that great. It's just skins, lighting, textures, whatever. Fine, cool, not a big deal to me. As long as your game is good, you can have the shittiest graphics in the world. I mean, if the gameplay is great, feels great, and is fun, that's why Nintendo's still like up there. That's why they're still making lots of money. That's why their Switches are all sold out. And it's just, they always have a Game of the Year nomination, even though they're on the less powerful system. They're still doing it. That just proves, like, to me, like, content matters, games matter. What your, publishing studios can bring out is what's important. But anyway, guys, let me know what you think down in the comments below. Of course, I think I've ranted on long enough. I need to go ahead and start thinking about next week's topic, because not a lot of Nintendo news has been coming out. Like I said, we talked about the Metroid Prime stuff here already, and I'm excited for that. The Metroid Prime trilogy is mostly like, it's coming, but we just don't know when, but it is coming. So hopefully it does come out in June. Honestly, I would love to play an HD version of Metroid Prime trilogy, because those are some of my favorite games to exist in all of Nintendo and all of gaming in general. Personally, I think the first one's the best, but that's a whole nother different video topic in itself. But anyway, guys, before this video becomes another half-hour long, I'm trying to keep this one short. We'll go ahead and call it quits. Have yourself a great night. I am returning to work as of June 1st, so sadly I won't be able to make content from my room as often as I was before. But I mean, that's alright. I mean, unfortunately it's going to affect my stream schedule as well. I do want to say that these last few months of full-time content creating have been a blast. I'm still making content, not going anywhere. But I just do want to say that, it's going to be a lot longer. But thank you for a solid last 3 months. Hopefully one day I'll be able to do this full time and get you guys videos on the regular. I was really enjoying bringing out almost a new video every week. It felt really nice. It's honestly been the happiest I've ever been in my life, but I digress. Well, since I roasted PC gaming in all of its, glory, I'm going to go ahead and play some BioShock on a PC, or BioShock 2, because, I bought that game for the trilogy for $13. I beat BioShock 1 a couple weeks ago, and I've been itching to play 2. Just haven't gotten around to it, but I probably will, now that I'm done shooting this video, actually play some games and before I start editing tomorrow. But anyway, guys, have yourself a great day, night, week, whatever. Peace out. See you next time.